What's going on, everyone? We are live today with a very special stream, one that we kind of honestly threw together at the last minute due to the LudoNarraCon conference, or convention, I guess, going on this weekend. A ton of good narrative-focused games being presented there. A lot of interesting talks going on. They've been going on since Friday, I think, and they will be wrapping up tomorrow. But there are also a ton of great demos available. We'll be showcasing 8 of them, starting with Tunic, running through 6 more, and then finishing with Beacon Pines, with some special guests to join us in between, some developers, some community managers. I'm really excited to talk to all of these people. But more importantly, maybe not more importantly, equally as important, I have a special guest joining me for the entire stream, Leon from I Love Indies. So, Leon, thank you so much for being here to kind of co-host with me and help me through all this.
It's a pleasure, Cody. I've been in many of your live streams before, and I've always wanted to be on the other side, and so here I am, so I can talk about it.
I love it. I'm super glad you're here. So like I said, we're going to start with Tunic. We're going to then go to Teacup, which is from Smarto Club. That developer is planning on joining us. Then we'll have Lake from Gamius and Whitethorn Digital. That developer is also planning to join us. And then wrapping up before 5 o'clock Eastern Time will be Venice 2089. And the game director, Francesco, will be joining us as well. So a lot of good stuff coming up in the first hour, and then wrapping up in the second hour will be Chicory from a team of 5 and being published by Finji. And then The Longest Road on Earth from a team of 4 and being published by Raw Fury. And then the last 2 are A Space for the Unbound, coming from Mojiken, one of my favorite studios, and being published by Toge Productions. And then we'll wrap up with Beacon Pines, and the community manager for Hiding Spot Games should be joining us as well. So a lot of fun things coming up, a lot of demos to get through. Leon, what would you say you're looking forward to most in the stream?
Ooh, I think we've got a really good selection of 8 games here, I have to say. It was difficult to narrow it down. We decided 2 hours and we thought 15 minutes for each game. And to actually get 8 from the 40 or so games that are in the LudoNarraCon was difficult. I think, what am I most looking forward to? Maybe Beacon Pines, maybe Chicory, maybe Tunic. Who knows? I think there's going to be something for everyone in this live stream, and there's very, very different games, but all with great stories.
I agree. I think that's something that you and I share in common, is that we both really enjoy story-centric games. I know you enjoy roguelites. I also enjoy roguelites and action games as much as the next guy, but being able to sit down and even some shorter games, being able to take in just a good story in 2 or 3 hours can really be an exciting and a memorable experience. And that's what all of these games are focused on, is creating an interesting and a memorable narrative experience.
I think we've just got to remember that this conference, this convention, the LudoNarraCon, is relatively new. This is only the 3rd year that it's actually taken place, and I think it's developed and got bigger each year. So if you haven't heard of it, then it's quite understandable. But it's definitely something I think that's going to sort of get bigger and bigger as the years go on.
Absolutely. I think there's over 40 games represented. Some of them are already out. We're focusing on ones that are upcoming, some even in the next month. So definitely go check out LudoNarraCon. They're doing awesome work. Sorry, I just was getting Steam notifications on the hour about some LudoNarraCon events starting up. So I guess that's a good sign that we should start our first demo with Tunic. So Leon, what do you know about Tunic? What can you share with us?
Well, I know that Tunic has been in development for a long time. I think at least 4 years. It's described as a Zelda-like game. It looks a lot like Zelda in some ways. It's a sort of isometric adventure with a fox. The fox is so adorable. In fact, I feel I want a plush toy of this fox.
Absolutely.
Bingy, the producers, you need to get on the plushies. There are some pin badges. I've already checked. There's pin badges. You can get those in t-shirts, but they don't have a plush yet. But I want a plush fox. So it has a lot of the typical Zelda sort of traits, dungeons. It's like an action RPG. I actually think from playing it that it reminded me a little bit of Below. I don't know if you've played Below, Cody.
I haven't.
Because I don't know why, but it's just the isometric style and some of the sort of perhaps some of the items and the way that you attack some of the enemies. That made me think of Below, which I think is an underrated gem. With this though, just look at the way that the sort of fox turns his head, and that roll is lovely as well. The way that you can sort of roll around and dodge. I really like the way the trees are all sort of. I don't know what would you say. They're all sort of like. How would you describe them, Cody? The sort of trees that.
Like a low poly, I think.
Yeah, they are low poly because you've got some like the block trees.
It just has really. Sorry to cut you off. It just has really nice colors too. Like, obviously these greens here are more muted colors, but then you come to the water and it's like a bright blue. Yeah,
I agree. I think the graphics are so gorgeous. And I played an early demo of this a few months ago, and I think it's got better over time. And this is still described as an early demo, and I'm hoping that it's going to get released this year.
I think we all are. I think we've been hoping that for the last couple of years. But with that said, I think I would much rather see a game delayed than have it come out too early and have a lot of bugs or a lot of issues right up front. I think we've seen that happen with AAA games. I think maybe you can figure out which ones I'm talking about in recent history. But especially with indie games, I feel like there's more of a sense of urgency that you maybe only have one shot to have a good introduction to the public.
I agree, and I think it's. I've checked some of the forums about this game, and there are some people have issues with the special language that is used in the game. So for a lot of the language in the signposts, it's a sort of unknown language, a bit like Fez. It reminded me a bit of Fez, the way that uses its own language. You see, when you move, you do get a bit of English with this sort of transitions from areas, but there's this sort of secret language. Maybe it'll be revealed.
Good timing.
Yeah, maybe you'll be able to read the language later on when you progress through the story, but who knows?
I don't know what this says, but I'm always up for an adventure, so I will answer okay. Oh.
Yeah, click on.
Oh my gosh. Is this the control scheme?
Yes, there you go. Talking about the language.
Written in hieroglyphics. Real quick, we have some viewers here who are actually chatting with us. Jeffrey from the Indie Gaming Guild, welcome, dude. He says, looking forward to this collaboration. Ryan Mulholland says, hey guys, loving the art style of Tunic. It is gorgeous. Absolutely agreed. I love low poly art style. I think it's very simple and just pleasing to look at. You also said, finished playing the Switch version of Link's Awakening recently with its toy-esque style, and I'm getting a lot of that from Tunic. Leon, have you played Link's Awakening? I know a lot of people...
I haven't played it on the Switch. I played the original one. I think it was on the Game Boy. Was it on the Game Boy? But I've not played Link's Awakening, unfortunately. But I have seen it, and I do know that it has a similar sort of art style.
Yeah. And then one more. Adam Sheridan asked, what game is this? This is Tunic, coming from the developer Dicey, also known as Andrew Schuldice. It's been in development since 2017, or at least that's when the Twitter page for it was created. And Finji is publishing it. You may recognize Finji from games like Night in the Woods, or Wilmot's Warehouse, which came out late last year, I think.
Night in the Woods is a game that has been previously in the LudoNarraCon, because that is a great narrative adventure.
I've heard that from other people in the community. People have recommended that I play that on a stream, so I've definitely heard of that one.
And there's a game that's coming up that I actually feel reminded me a lot of Night in the Woods, so I'll mention that later on.
Okay.
What was the last time you hear that game?
So as we were talking about before with the strange language, some symbols pop up here, and you see a sword there. So maybe, even though we can't read it, we can probably still intuit that this this is where we want to go.
It's like when you go on holiday to a country where they speak a different language. You can still sort of understand many of the signs, can't you?
Right. You can still get a gist of what they're saying.
Yeah. So what do you think of the combats, Cody, of this game?
I mean, this is only the first five minutes so far. I think it's fun. It's not super challenging. It takes a couple seconds to pick up on. You can see I'm getting hit a lot. It's not the most challenging, but the enemies do have different attacks. You do have to use your dodge a lot, and kind of pace yourself with your attacks. What did you think of it? I know you've played through a lot of these, or maybe all of them yesterday.
I played through the demo, and I really like it. You're about to get the sword, which I think is a sort of upgrade.
Right on cue.
I think there's probably still a little bit of work they're going to be doing on the combat system. I like that it's got the sort of the old Z targeting of Zelda. Think Ocarina of Time, where you could sort of target an enemy and sort of rotate around them, which works quite nicely. Most enemies seem to take 2 to 3 hits to defeat and aren't that challenging. Although I did come across some enemies, I think they're in a bit of a sort of secret area if you backtrack, which finish me off very quickly. So
really?
I think it will get challenging. If you're to go back outside, now that you've got your sword, you're able to cut down trees.
Yes. So originally with the stick, you can cut down these sort of, well, I don't know why it's not doing it now, but you could cut down these sort of shrubs. But now that you've got the sword, you can cut down the bigger bushes.
No, I don't actually think the stick allows you to cut anything down. I think it's just there as a sort of basic weapon to defend yourself and attack. The sword, though, allows you to cut up all forms of trees, which has allowed you to progress and get through here.
And it's a nice way to do the tutorial too.
It is, yes. And I like the way that you did a nice little dodge there to get out of getting hit. I also really like the level design of it, the way that it's the way you go up and down through ladders and platforms. It's got that nice sort of 3D isometric style, but it's also got I don't know, it's quite inventive in the way that you sort of move around this sort of the level.
So I've only seen maybe only some trailer footage of Fez. Do you feel like this level design reminds you of Fez?
I wouldn't probably compare this game to Fez.
Okay.
Because the only thing I'd compare it to is the way that they use the sort of special language, which I like. Gameplay is very, very much not like Fez.
Right.
It's as I said before, it reminds me a little bit of Below. So if people listening, watching haven't checked out Below, it's an underrated gem, and I think it's out on most consoles and it's out on PC. So check it out.
I have noticed, and again, this is a very early demo. This demo's been out for years. They said it was on the show floor when we used to have shows in public. Occasionally you'll get stuck on like some pottery and not be able to reach something for a second, but it's pretty easy to work around. It's definitely not something to fret or worry about.
What do you make of the response times with the dodge? I found the dodge was a little bit slow. Sometimes I pressed it and it wasn't quite as responsive as I would have liked, but maybe that was just me.
Oh, I did almost die there. Oof. Sorry, I'm trying not to die. Oh boy.
No.
Okay, I think we survived. Yeah, it might be a little bit slow, but I feel like I'm okay with that. It doesn't feel like it's lagging or it's hindering my enjoyment of the game.
And then you've got these switches that you lift up to raised drawbridges. I like this. I like the sort of the strange fantasy world where you wake up on the shore just sort of at the start. Then you work your way up the sort of the castle, if you can call it that.
Right. There's really no story given. There's no background given. You're just this adorable fox who finds a stick and then a sword, and off you go. Oh, hello.
You're about to face the boss
with no health.
Yes. I don't think this will end well.
Well, there you have it, guys. Tunic. We did have a couple more people join the stream. I know we've got a lot of people lurking, but David said hello, and Cece, welcome to the stream. I'm glad you guys are able to join us. We've got about 4 minutes left of Tunic, and then we'll be transitioning to Teacup. Oh wait, do we have to start over? Ooh.
Which is unfortunate. I think this is what happens with the demos. But I see how the level zooms in there, the camera zooms in. You will be able to go to all of those places, which I like that.
And it's interesting that there's a ladder down there. We can we'll probably just explore for the next couple minutes. Do you guys have any questions or thoughts about Tunic before we wrap up?
Yes, CC who's saying no spoilers, but you may want to go back to grab a piece of equipment you missed. I think CC who has played this.
I think she did say she played it yesterday. I bet I know where the piece is, actually. I don't know that I have time. Was it here? I think it was here.
There is something. There is another chest that is in this open area. I think you can go around here. Oh no, you can't. You can't go in there because.
Well, I don't have the sword. What? So maybe the save points don't work in the demo because I did save it this one originally.
They do. The save points do work, but only if you die before the boss. If the boss kills you, then you have to start over because that's the end, basically.
That's the end of the demo. Okay.
I'm wondering whether you can actually defeat the boss. Sometimes they do it that way.
Are you saying you didn't defeat the boss?
No, I didn't. It ended just as it ended for you with me.
That's fair enough. David, always delivering the pun, says we are tuned in to Tunic.
Yeah. This fox is just so adorable.
He really is.
A great character here.
I'm always a sucker for good lighting effects, and I love how you can just tell that there's large trees. You never see them, not yet as far as I know, but you can see like the dappling of the light on the walls, on the ground. It's just a beautiful atmosphere that they've created, and to think that this is a years-old demo is really exciting. I don't think I'm nearly alone in saying that I can't wait to see the finished product. Hopefully, sometime this year. Jeffrey from the Indie Gaming Guild says this fox reminds me of a polygonal Lucky from Super Lucky's Tale. Have you played that, Leon?
I have played. Well, I've played New Super Lucky's Tale, not the original. I've played it on the Switch, actually, New Super Lucky's Tale, and I really did enjoy it. It's quite simplistic. I think it's one I'll be getting replaying very soon.
Yeah.
But it runs beautifully on the Nintendo Switch, the New Super Lucky's Tale, and it's very much like your Mario 64. It reminded me a lot of Mario 64. And Lucky's really adorable as well.
Yeah.
I want to plush Lucky for my indie shelf.
Okay, so I was wondering how far we could get without getting a weapon, and you can just dodge your way to the sword, so that's kind of fun.
Yep.
Alright, Cece said the piece I'm talking about is located next to the first switch. Yeah, I don't think... We don't have time to go back and do that now.
What did he miss, CC? You might as well reveal it to us. I know that there was a couple of you can get piggy banks that
I did get those earlier.
Yeah, that allow you to get more gems. I'm not sure what you use the currency for. There's nothing to use it for in this demo.
Right, nothing yet.
But I'm sure it will serve a purpose when the game comes out.
Cece said the shield is what we missed. So,
I missed the shield as well. I didn't get the shield.
Did you? Shame on you, Leon.
We both failed.
We both failed. So, good news for everyone who wants to find any of these games. The links are down in the description on YouTube. Easy to find links to Steam. You can go wishlist them. You should go wishlist them and support these awesome developers if you like the look of the games. Demos are also available through tomorrow. Some of them may stay up, but I have my doubts.
Or they may pop up again.
Yeah, I'm sure they will pop up again before they're released. So we are going to transition to Teacup from the developer Smarto Club and the publisher Whitethorn Digital. Leon, what can you tell us about Teacup?
What can I tell you about tea? I love tea. I drink a lot of tea, and I think there's something we have in common there, isn't there?
Absolutely.
You like your tea.
I do love my tea.
And this is my sort of game. It's a narrative adventure that stars Teacup. And in it, you play a shy, introverted young frog who loves drinking tea and reading. It sounds like me, actually.
It's a story about Leon. They just renamed you.
Yes. The day before she's a host, before she hosts a tea party, she runs out of tea. Now, that is a travesty.
So
what does she do? Well, the game is about her venturing out into the woods to get some tea for her dinner party. Sounds very exciting, doesn't it?
It does. And I'm happy to say that we have the developers here from Smarto Club. They said, hello, fellow tea lovers. Welcome to the stream.
Hello, Smarto Club.
So, from what I've seen, I do want to give the developers an opportunity to kind of introduce the game as well. So yeah, what do you guys have to say about the game? And who's joining us? I know you guys, from what I found on Twitter, you guys are a team of 3. So a very small team. But we're glad to have you here if you want to introduce yourselves.
Jeffrey has been doing some punning as well there from the Indie Gaming Guild.
Oof. Oh boy, a steep learning curve. I love it.
Yes. And Jeffrey's also a coffee drinker. That's a shame.
It is a shame. Some people just aren't cultured, you know?
Mm.
Hope we didn't offend any other coffee drinkers out there. Jeffrey is a good friend of ours over at the Indie Gaming Guild. Also, we have Joss from Gamius, who's here early for our next game coming up. Welcome, Joss. Welcome, fellow tea lover.
Welcome to the party. What's your favourite type of tea, Corday?
I'm actually drinking it right now. I love oolong tea.
Oh, oolong. I'm quite partial to an Assam tea now and again.
Really?
Yes, yeah. But there's nothing better than an English breakfast cup of tea.
I love a variety of black teas, but English breakfast is a nice kind of all-around tea to enjoy whenever.
It is. No, I think that just the graphical style of this, it's just truly gorgeous. I really love the frog here, Teacup. She's just, I just love it. I really like this style. It reminds me a little bit of some of the sort of children's books that I've been reading to my 2-year-old. And that is a compliment, a real compliment, because I just really like that art style.
Already, I mean, we're only a minute into the demo, and we found something that is one of my favorite items to find in any game, and that is an encyclopedia, or something that you can fill in as you go and learn about the different, in this case, types of tea. Another game that did this really well was Alba, a wildlife adventure, where you're documenting birds and animals around an island. But if we weren't on a time crunch here, a 15-minute time crunch, I would go ahead and read through all of these.
It's really good, and it's educational.
It is.
You learn about tea.
I would love to learn more about tea, but we will progress. Leon, Smarto Club said you gave a perfect description of the game, so they're going to leave it at that.
Thank you, Smarto Club. It's such an original idea. It's such a simple idea. You just wouldn't think someone had come up with it really. And there's not enough games about tea.
No, I can't think of. I can think of one other game that has had tea. Well, several games that have had tea in it, but not the not the focal story point for sure.
And I agree with Smart Talk Club. Yes, the illustrations do remind me a lot of the Wind in the Willows. I'm an English literature teacher, and I've looked at the Wind in the Willows before, and yes, it does remind me of that.
Okay, Smarto Club also said the programmer and environmental artist are here watching. So I'm gonna give these names a shot because I did write them down from Twitter earlier. Is it Alonso from Chile, who is the dev and the programmer, and Frances is the illustrator. I really hope I didn't butcher those names, but I'm super glad to have you guys here.
And the way that Teacup moves is just lovely. With a little backpack on as well.
Yeah, she's just out. I don't know how old this frog is. Probably. Well, I'm not gonna gander a guess, but it seems like maybe an adolescent.
Yes, seems relatively young. Although, to host your own tea party. Well, I don't know. Actually, saying that, children do that. They play hosting tea parties.
Right. I love this owl too. I'm a big fan of owls. Wise old owls. Oh, you were just about to throw away this map. How convenient. This art style reminds me of like pointillism almost, where paintings are made up of just like points on a canvas. To me, that's what what it looks like, or what it reminds me of the most. But it's very beautiful. I love all the different colors.
I wonder if the developers can tell us any more about when we can expect to be playing this one in all its glory. Are we looking for a 2021 release?
I will eagerly await their answer.
And I'm assuming it's going to be out first on PC, but this would be a great game for some consoles. I've got a lot of people that I know that would be picking this one up on the Nintendo Switch.
Especially on Switch. I feel like, especially like the kind of wholesome and cozy indie games are maybe most at home on the Switch.
Definitely. And you can have your cup of tea in one hand and your Switch in the other.
CC Who says, I am sold on the game already. I was sold as soon as I stepped out of the house and saw this environment. This is really just a beautiful atmosphere, a beautiful scenery.
I was sold at the title screen.
Always have to one-up me, Leon, don't you?
Sorry. Smart Talk Club is saying that they're hoping to release mid-2021, which that's not too far away, which would be fantastic.
Excellent.
For Switch release 2. No promises, but most things tend to find their way to Switch eventually.
That would be fantastic.
And your map starts to sort of be drawn out as you visit the various locations.
And lots of people to talk to, well, lots of animals to talk to at the market. Very lively market.
David says that he was addicted to tea. What type of tea were you addicted to, David?
Please do tell us. We have Moro joining in. Welcome, my friend. Does anybody in the chat have any questions for the developers while we have them here? We're super excited and super happy to have them here. I have one that I'll ask in the meantime. Whose idea was the frog?
Good question.
I guess you could. I mean, there's a wide array of animals to choose from just at the market. Who settled on the frog, or who came up with that idea?
Anthropomorphic characters, particularly animals, seem to be really popular in indie games. I wonder why that is. We've got a lot of the games that we're looking at today feature anthropomorphic animals.
That I didn't even think about that.
Well, there you go.
CC also asked, do all the developer teams like tea, or are there some separatists? Some who have fallen by the wayside?
I just need to say something, actually. I get my tea delivered, Cordy.
As do I, actually.
Do you?
I do. I don't want to sound like a snob, but I buy the loose leaf tea. I don't drink it for bags usually unless I'm like out of town. But there's a supplier in the States that I trust wholeheartedly, and he delivers amazing tea. If you're in the States, it's Whispering Pines tea.
Oh.
What?
I've been in the States. I love to pop into a David's tea, which do you know David's tea?
I do. Yes.
We don't have it in the UK. It's such a disappointment to me. We've got nothing like that, so I really do like it.
I think we've gotten some answers about the frogs. Alonso says, I seriously don't remember who came up with the frog. Do you, France or Francis? And Alonso says, Danny and I did. We are huge frog fans. I love it. Danny has the pantry full of amazing different teas. I guess that's us too, Leon. I guess we're tea nerds.
It is. Now, through these characters, like we'll probably not get to see it. I played through the demo. It's a lovely little demo. You have to, you get the first tea that you actually find is mint tea. That was the first tea I found. Or I found some mint so that I could make my mint tea for my tea party. And you have to find another frog, and you have to have a race against a frog.
Really?
Which is very interesting. And the race, it's a sort of you have to sort of time the buttons correctly to overtake the frog and beat him. He says he'll give you the mint if you actually if you beat him in a race in the pond. So that's where this game would be going next.
Yeah, I'm sad that we don't have more time to spend with each of these games. I haven't made it to this part before. Is this a tea garden puzzle or just a?
Oh yes, no, yeah, maybe the developers can say something about these puzzles. I actually found this puzzle quite difficult. Let's see if you can do it in the time we've got left on this game.
Oh boy, how much time do we have left?
2 minutes.
All right, we're doing it.
Yeah, it took me a while.
Not off to a great start here.
If you do it straight away, I'll be very impressed. Will there be a lot of puzzles like this in the game? Smarto Club.
Yeah, please do tell. All right, I'm showing my my weakness at puzzles here.
The pressure is real. It does actually add.
Pressure is on.
Yeah, and it does sort of add an extra dimension to the game.
I do enjoy finding these in games, though.
Yeah. Yes, you can rotate them. Use the
what?
buttons at the bottom.
No way.
Yes.
I think I might have had it earlier if I had known that. That's what I'm gonna say. At least I could have had it earlier.
Could have done.
How did I have things set? That's not it. No. Smarto Club said there's a couple more puzzles like this, but we made sure to add some hints in case you got stuck.
Yes. Has it given you a hint yet, Cordy? It flashes up with a white.
It hasn't. It hasn't figured out how.
Oh well.
How dull I am.
It does after a while. Give you like it highlights the space and the shape to put it there. So I was a little bamboozled, but it did. I think I needed 2 hints to get it.
There it is. What? Okay. Okay, we really do need to switch, but I'm going to see if I can do this in like 1 minute.
Oh!
I have no idea what goes there. Okay, my brain is fried.
I think you failed.
I think I failed. I'm sorry, Smarto. When the game comes out, I will be sure to complete this puzzle as it's intended to be completed. Smarto Club, thank you so much, everyone, for stopping by. If you want to tell us where we can find you, where we can follow you, I know you guys are on Twitter. Steam link again is in the description for this lovely game. Awesome soundtrack, by the way, too. We didn't get to talk about that, but I love the acoustic soundtrack in the back.
Wonderful game, and it's just the perfect indie for two tea drinkers like us. Thanks, Smarto Club, for being with us.
They said thanks for playing. Cece said poor garden. That was indeed a pathetic garden. So you can find Smarto Club on Twitter and on Instagram. Definitely go give them a follow over there, support them. Very lovely people to chat with.
And you can expect Teacup to feature on both of our channels at some point in the future. I'm pretty sure of that.
Especially with our propensity for tea.
Yes.
All right, so up next we have Lake coming to us from Gamius. We already have Joss. Hope I'm saying that correctly. It's J-O-S. It seems like that should be hard to mispronounce. But Joss, welcome to the stream. Thanks for being here. Oops, sorry about that.
Do you want me to talk a little bit about Lake while we're waiting?
Please do. I'm having a little trouble just pulling it up onto OBS.
Technical problems. So Lake is perhaps the most graphically impressive game. Well, it depends what you're looking at, but it's a 3D adventure, and it's set in 1986. 1986, I can remember that year well. Doctor and the Medics got to #1 in the UK. That was a great track.
What is that?
Spirit in the Sky. It probably didn't make it big in the US of A. What else did we have in 1986? I'm just trying to think. Oh, Jermaine Stewart, We Don't Have to Take Our Clothes Off. Do you know that one?
I don't. I was born in 91.
Oh, well.
And I missed a lot of, like, I guess, are you talking about music?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I missed a lot of music from that era.
Oh, you've missed out. Anyway, in this, you play as a sort of a Postman Pat. Do you have Postman Pat in the US?
No, we don't.
No, you're missing out on a lot of things. You play as a postal mail delivery person, and you take a break from your career in the big city to deliver mail in your hometown.
Hi, Steve.
And so it's set in a place called Providence Oaks with an iconic lake and
Hope
a
you guys
quirky
had a nice
community.
Labor Day party.
Sounds quite good, doesn't it?
It does sound quite nice. It sounds like a nice break from a hectic, maybe overbalanced work-life balance.
Yeah.
Misbalanced.
So you escape to a beautiful rustic environment, and it's a place. Just imagine this: a place without cell phones or the internet.
Oh wait.
Just imagine that. How would we cope, Cody?
I feel like I would cope quite well. I'm a fan of getting away to the mountains and camping where there's very little to no cell service, and just kind of taking a break from everything. So I feel like this game actually kind of speaks to me pretty well.
Better get some sleep now. My plane leaves early in the morning.
Yeah, I think I could do that. You know, but what we've got here is the protagonist, a 40-something. She's called Meredith Wise, or Weiss, I think it's Wise. And you go and drive around the lake in your dad's trusty mail truck.
Please, just call me Frank.
Sounds
We're colleagues now.
If there's people from the UK, they'll know what I mean by Postman Pat. The Postman
Thanks so
Pat
much for making
references.
time for me.
I was really hoping that Dave from Save Decks Gaming would be here because he is a postman in real life.
This game would be right up
Well,
his
I hope I
street.
can fill his shoes.
I wonder, though, would a postman like to play this game? Would a postman like to play a game about being a postman, do you
We
think?
deliver some mail in our
It's a
beautiful
good
little
question.
lake town.
And show me the ropes?
I think so.
Sure.
I think so.
All right then, ready to roll.
Joss gave us a different rendition of Postman Pat in the Netherlands. It's called Peter Post?
We're being told that there's a lot of 80s music references in the lake. Actually, when I was playing the demo, couldn't recognise it, but the music sounded particularly 80s. So being someone that grew up in the 80s, it resonated a lot with me.
Okay, sir, what's
this? So the music that just played at that transition, I actually really like that. I don't know if it's 80s-ish music. It's acoustic. I really like acoustic guitar music. All right, we're going to press F to exit.
So you're going to do your first delivery now?
There's a, is this maybe an 80s reference?
Possibly.
A little Ghostbusters, it looks like.
Yes, I think it is. Ghostbusters, 1984. Ghostbusters 1.
Nothing too difficult, right?
I think I should be able to face the challenge.
So Joss says, to be honest, most music we use is not from the 80s, but we've tried to capture the vibe with the soundtrack. Joss, let me ask you, how big is Gamius? How big is the team that's working on Lake? I did a little bit of digging on Twitter and on your website, but I couldn't really find much about it. So what can you tell us about your team that you're working with? Just grab this package out of the back. There's only one to choose from, so they made it nice and easy for us.
Yeah. I imagine that things will get far more complicated as the game progresses.
Right.
And you'll have multiple parcels in the back of the van to select.
I did notice that this isn't maybe a real postal sim because there's not. Maybe this comes up later, but there's not an option to stand out here at the sidewalk and throw the package as hard as I can at the door. You have to walk it up and ring the doorbell.
Well, I think it's more about the story, isn't it? I'd like to know where the idea came from the developers. Where, you know, it's an interesting idea, and the setting as well.
Where is this setting? Is it?
Start a game until Frank Coleman has turned on.
Well, I'm not going to guess where it is. Josh, can you tell us where it is? He also said.
You're getting
I can tell you where it is.
So, where
Oregon.
Computers? Should I?
That's what I was guessing. Or did they mention that? It's in Oregon. Okay.
Bookkeeping. I always make a mess of
Have
my
you ever been
tax
to Oregon,
returns.
Cody?
Can't a computer do that for me?
I haven't, but I would love to go there. I'm trying to convince my wife to go there later this
I
year.
was afraid you were going to say that. I'll bug you about it another time.
I've never been, but one of my
Next
favourite
address is right around the
music
corner.
bands come from Oregon, Blind Pilot, yeah, I'd love to go there.
I have heard of them. I don't think I can name a song of theirs, but I have heard the name.
There's no place like
Very,
home.
very good.
Sure isn't. Can't wait to get home.
And I'd also like to know how big is the world
Giants.
of Lake?
before
Because
I
it
get
seems
out,
like
what time do I
and is
start
it
tomorrow?
open world?
7
Do you have to?
a.m.
Are you
Just
able
check in
to
at
sort
the
of?
post office.
It
Okay,
seems at the
Frank.
moment like you're very
See you
much on
tomorrow.
rails and you're going to
Adios.
particular places. But will you be able to sort of go your own way?
Yeah, I think that's just the demo, like tutorial side of it. It's just very linear and, you know, go here at this time, do this in this sequence. But I think when you start your mail route the next day,
let you know.
It kind of gives you a map of where the deliveries are, and then you have to figure it out. I didn't play further than getting the map, though, because I was just trying to get the graphics figured out.
The freezer stuffed with food, and there's blueberry pie in the fridge.
The idea for Lake came from the game director, Dylan Nagel, or Nagel, who was inspired by a photo of a car next to a lake, and he wanted to drive that car.
I know you had other plans for Labor Day.
That's awesome how an idea can bloom from just like seeing a picture, and then it blooms into something like this, an entire game that so many people can experience and enjoy.
Just kidding. Or am I? I'll talk to you later.
Joss also said the team is quite big if you look at the credits, but not too many people work full-time on it. He said the core team is around six to seven people.
I think it's an amazing accomplishment what they've managed with 6 people. And are we looking at a 2021 release, or is it going to be later? I wonder if Joss can give us
maybe he can shed some light on it. Joss, what is your role on the team as well?
Oh, yeah, I guess. Good morning.
It's a great day to be on the road. I already filled up the mailbag in the truck, so you're good to go. Oh, I forgot to tell you. There's a map in the cabin, in case you get lost.
I'll probably need that.
Probably need that.
Bon voyage!
He says Dylan did a presentation about it on Friday, which was streamed on the Lake Store page in Steam. Again, I'll say this with every game probably. The link is in the description. Please go wishlist it. Follow it if you're interested in playing it. The demo is also available through Monday. Joss says he's the lead writer and co-game designer. Wow. Sounds like a lot of work. And Lake will be released in a few months, so that's really something to look forward to. You guys were part of the Whitethorn Digital showcase back in March, correct? I think I remember seeing it then too. At least a trailer of it. Okay, so I have not done this yet, and we only have like 2 minutes, but let's just drive around. We're not going to deliver anything. We're just going for a scenic drive in Oregon.
So it's a bit like a postal Grand Theft Auto.
I just hope we're not going to go postal. Do you guys say that in the UK? Going postal?
Not that often.
Okay. We don't really say it either. It sounds like something my parents would say.
It is. It's the graphics are fantastic, and the world they've created is amazing.
Moro, the Marks 05 asking the questions that everyone's wanting answers to. Do you have a gun in this game? Not yet.
I hope not.
Cece's disappointed that we're just going for a drive when when people are waiting for their parcels. Sorry, folks. Just taking a wide turn. Joss says no guns. That's fair. Look at this scenery, though. So I'm playing on keyboard and mouse, and you can kind of pan around with the mouse and just look while you drive. Not something you should do in real life. Something that's actually quite difficult in the game, too. But just look at this place. I'm really in love with the graphical style, especially with just the setting of being on the lake like we talked about, being in kind of rural Oregon. It's very lovely.
I wonder how big the game is. I imagine that it's gonna there'll be a lot of quests, and it'll take quite a long time to actually complete it.
Oh, well, here we go. Here's the map. So we drove, I think we started here, maybe here, post office. So we've driven almost halfway around the map for now. It looks like there may be something down here later. But man, I'd be fine just driving laps around the lake. Maybe I'm weird. Okay, so Joss did say, as far as content goes, the LudoNarraCon demo covers the first few days in the game, and the entire game takes 2 weeks.
All right.
So this will be quite the adventure. I'm looking forward to every game on this list. It's hard to say if there's one that really outweighs another. But look who just showed up. Dave from Save Decks. I just want to hear your quick thoughts on the life of a postal worker compared to this game. We really don't have time to talk about it, but I'm just going to ask and see what your thoughts are. And Joss, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Joss. Now, Dave would have got my Postman Pat references.
I'm just going to sit here in the middle of the road blocking traffic. Joss, where can we find you outside of Steam, obviously, and where can we follow along in the development of Lake and any other games that you'll work on in the future? Feel free to drop. I think you can drop links. You can definitely drop links on Twitch, and it'll go to whoever's on YouTube as well. So feel free to drop your links on Twitch, and everyone go follow along. Dave says people shout Postman Pat at him all the time. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, I really like Postman Pat. He's a lovely chap, and I really like my 2-year-old loves watching it, and he loves the postal vans as well.
Okay, there you have it.
Here's a fact for you. My father used to be a postmaster years ago, so he used to run a post office, and I used to work temporarily in a post office.
Did you really?
Yes, when I was in my formative years.
Wow. So we have like delivery services. I'm sure you guys do too. At like FedEx. I used to work for FedEx in the States, not as a driver, just as the packer. I packed a lot of the trucks in the morning. But that's the extent of my experience with postal work.
And did you like it?
No, I did not. It was a middle of the night job. I worked from like 3 a.m. to about 8.
Doesn't sound like that sort of thing.
Very, very long nights.
See, he wants to go to the lake.
Can we go in the lake? It's too late. That is a great question, though. Oh, man.
Yes, can you swim?
Or can you drive the car in the lake? Your mail truck, soak all the parcels. Become a villain. So Joss did say we have a Twitter account at Gamius, and Lake actually has its own Twitter account at Lake_the_game. He also clarifies you can't go into the lake, but you will be on the lake at one point in the game.
Oh, does that mean in a boat, maybe? Yeah,
or winter? But it didn't look like it was about to be winter there. A boat, that would be something. Or fishing, Jeffrey says.
Fishing?
Oh, and Joss says, if you decided to take that little side branch. I am a huge fan of side branches in narrative games, in story games. I will spend as much time as I can exploring them. And Joss also says, I can't answer that. We're out of time. Winky face. Right you are. We're getting a little bit behind here, but we're going to do our best to give each game their 15 minutes that they deserve. I mean, they deserve way more time than that. Please go check out these demos. Thank you so much, Joss, for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you, and I wish you guys the best of luck in your continued development, and I know a lot of us are looking forward to playing this later this year.
Thanks, Joss.
So, Leon, I have Venice 2089 pulled up very smoothly this time. So why don't you introduce us?
Okay. Now, I should, as an introduction, have you been to Venice, Cody?
I have not. I've never been to... Do you guys call it mainland Europe? Because I've been to Iceland, which is a European island. But that's all of Europe that I've been to. Never been to Venice, never been to any of Italy.
Well, no, I've been to Venice a couple of times. In fact, I've taken my students to Venice on a trip, and so I know what it's like. And the game, it's set in the future. It's set in 2089, a time when I'm just trying to work out how old I would be then. Let's not go there. And in this one, you are playing as a young girl, as you can see her there, wearing the yellow jacket. And what is most unique about this is this sort of 2/3D perspective, and you'll see that when you get out of the house. But this one, I'd not heard much about it until I saw it in the LudoNarraCon. So you're looking at a future Venice with the effects of rising water slowly destroying the city. Now, I know that is a very topical issue with the water, and there's been so many documentaries and so many things in the news about it. It's one of the most unique places in the world, I feel, Venice. There's nothing quite like going on a gondola or getting a vaporetti. There's a sort of the boat taxis that you can get there. I really do like the place, and it's obviously steeped in history as a sort of Renaissance place of culture. But in this, you explore the city through Nova, and she's the young girl wearing the yellow coat, and you get a hoverboard, which I think is very interesting. And you won't get the hoverboard until you go outside, Cody.
I've played up to the hoverboard portion, and a little bit past. You do have to get not through these conversations. You're talking to your grandpa. You're not just getting through these conversations. You're enjoying them. But I am very glad to welcome Francesco, the game director of Venice 2089. He's here to answer any of our questions, any of your questions in the chat. So please ask away if you guys have any questions about this game. I did have one, and Leon, you kind of already led into it, actually. So I've heard that the water is slowly rising in Venice, or maybe it's not that the water is slowly rising, but that the city is slowly sinking. Is that a current problem, Francesco, that you're seeking to raise awareness of through gaming? If so, I think that's a really interesting use of gaming. I'm sure other people are doing it as well, but I just think that's so cool. So I'm going to speed through this conversation a little bit. The grandpa wants us to post posters around the town, even though it's 2089, and it looks like most things are digital and automated. He still thinks it's worth the time to post posters.
Still got to be retro.
Still got to be retro, exactly. All right, so he's going to give us several places to put them. Yep.
It looks as though he's eating his breakfast, and so obviously, he's sending you out.
Francesco says, we started developing Venice to speak about local issues in Italy. And you guys are an Italian developer, from what I read, so that's doubly cool. It's very, I'm sure that's a close-to-home issue that you guys are passionate and excited to share with people.
I'd like to know how long the game's been in development, because I'd not come across it much until recently, but it's definitely on my radar now.
So I actually think I'm going to switch to controller, because that's how I was playing it earlier. And I think it was a little more intuitive. I don't usually play games on keyboard and mouse if a controller is an option. I think, Leon, you said that earlier when we were chatting too.
Yeah, I played this demo on a controller.
So we're gonna hop on our hoverboard, explore around. Oh, I actually missed this one earlier. Of all the places to miss putting a poster, right when you step outside.
There you go.
And then we'll ride around. And
I don't know where the inspiration for the art style came from, but For some reason, with the hoverboard, it reminded me a bit of Jet Set Radio. I know it's very different, but it did just sort of, I don't know, make me think of that game. If anyone
there's. I don't know that there's many games that have. Well, there's some graffiti for you.
There is graffiti,
but there's not many games that really fit that category of like futuristic skating. Yeah.
I really like the way that you press up, or you can go around the corners and it shifts. So it's sort of 2.5D. I don't even know what you call it.
It's really. You're right. It is very. It kind of caught me off guard at first. I started going to the side and I saw these gems that you can collect. I will come back to this conversation in a second in the game, but you see the gems down there and you're like, well, how do I get there? And then you just press up on the joystick and there you go. And you can do that in almost every alleyway. Well, probably every 2.60.
And the actual gems that you collect seem to, unless there's another purpose, they seem to speed up your hoverboard. If you collect them, you'll notice that the hoverboard starts to change colour, or it starts to leave a trail, and you'll get faster.
I didn't notice that. Francesca says, yeah, in a way, it's a softer cyberpunk Venice. A very interesting explanation of it.
I've got a question for Francesca. Are any of the significant Venetian landmarks in the game? Because when I played the area in the demo, I didn't see any of the sort of like I'm thinking of the Campanile, the Bell Tower, and the Basilica, and some of maybe the other ones. Are there actual landmarks, real landmarks in your game? Because the game looks a lot like Venice. It's fantastic.
CC saying we found 2089 Banksy. Very clever.
Ryan Mulholland's getting Fez Super Paper Mario vibes from the shifting perspective. Yes, I see what he means with Fez. Real landmarks, Francesco says.
Alright, so let's pick up some gems here and see if we get some speed. Can we jump over? Nope. Alright, so what's a landmark that we should be looking for? I know nothing of Venice, so probably have to explain it to me a good bit.
Like the Bell Tower, I think it's called the Campanile, is quite a famous landmark. I wonder if that'll be in the game. The Rialto Bridge as well. Will the Rialto Bridge be in the game, Francesco? Will you be able to hoverboard up the Rialto Bridge, or has it been fully submerged or crumbled in 2089?
Jeffrey says look for the waterways. Can we get a mod in here to ban this guy? It's being very disruptive. Can you find pizza? My favorite food.
There's a board.
Is that a board? What was that?
You just got
down
back
here?
a little.
I'm going the wrong way.
Around the corner.
Oh well. I don't think we're going to have time to find all the boards, so I do just want to explore and... Oh, there it is. And kind of show off the world. Francesca said... There are real landmarks you can find in Venice, but they're not the most famous ones because we wanted to take a more personal attachment to the city. You can find San Travaso Church. Do you know about that, Leon?
I don't know that one though. When I was young and my parents took me to Venice, I really did have a fascination with the churches there, and I imagine I've probably been to that church. At one time, Venice was one of my favourite places in the world.
Really? Jeffrey asked a couple of good questions, actually. How big is the team working on this game? Looks amazing. And any console plans? And Francesco, I know we're coming up on the end of our time here. I also wanted to ask what the job of game director is like. Like, what is your role on the team? For me, it sounds like that's like a project manager kind of position. But I'd love to hear exactly what you do.
There's other tasks, quite quests that you do. You'll notice you've been picking up some feathers. There's a feather lady that you give those to.
What? Ah, some nice graffiti. Ratsky. Is that the 2089 Banksy then? Sorry, I feel like we're going around the same area over and over again. But it's all nice to look at. Get some nice tricks in here. Francesco said we are 13 on our team, a very young team. He says he's the project manager and creative director. You do a bit of everything. Maybe you don't know the answer to this, but is that a common thing among smaller indie teams? Is a few people wearing a lot of hats? That's how it seems from the outside looking in. Jeffrey says a jack of all trades. That's a great way to say it. Grab some big air there.
And I wonder if Francesco can give us a sort of idea of when we can expect to play this in all its glory, because I think it really is a gem.
It's very relaxing. Someone said earlier this would be a nice game to play on a Sunday afternoon, which in the States I am playing it on a Sunday afternoon, but it's just a nice casual adventure with a nice meaningful story to it as well. So I'm really looking forward to seeing more from this one.
I found it totally unique and beautiful. Really gorgeous, the graphic style.
We're just going to go as far as we can. Maybe we'll see something new. Oh, that's as far as we can go. Francesco says, yeah, in some kind, the pigeon feathers remember AC2, Assassin's Creed 2?
Yeah, Jeffrey asked about the feathers, whether it was a little sort of nod to Assassin's Creed 2, where you collect feathers, which is also set in. I think you go to Venice in Assassin's Creed 2. It's certainly set in Florence, but that is actually my favourite of all these Assassin's Creeds. The second one.
Okay. Excuse me. Francesco also said, yeah, we want the game to be relaxing and chill. Well, I think you've really hit the mark, at least in my opinion. Any other last-minute questions for Francesco from the chat? It's been a pleasure having you here. Thank you so much for your time. I know this is probably a super busy weekend for you with everything going on at LudoNarraCon. But thank you so much for your time, for spending time with us, and letting us get to know you a little bit, and sharing more about your game.
Thanks, Francesco.
And Francesco, please also let us know where we can follow along. If somebody wasn't here during the last game, links are in the description. Please go wishlist all of these games. They're lovely developers, they're lovely stories being told. That's what LudoNarraCon is all about. Narrative-focused games. This one with an especially message that's especially close to home for the developers. So do show us some love. And again, thank you for being here. Francesco says, no, Ezio I think was a bit expensive to have in our game. I can only imagine what it would cost to, what would you even do, license that character? That would be nutty. Venice 2089 on Twitter is the way that you can follow along with the development, where you can find announcements about the upcoming release date, Did we get an answer about a date for this one? I don't think I had anything written down for it.
I'm hoping 2021.
Maybe they're not sure. And you can also follow Francesco personally at Wacky Whale on Twitter. And he says, thank you again. Have fun with the other demos. We'll try. Still, 4 more good ones coming up. We're an hour in, and we're already behind. I knew this would happen.
Don't worry, we'll catch up.
I don't want to catch up.
Oh.
So up next, we have Chicory. There's more to that title. Let me scroll up to it because I'm forgetting it. Chicory, A Colorful Tale. Leon, why don't you introduce us to this one?
So Chicory is, well, it's a game by Finji, who also publish, or will be publishing, Tunic, the game that we started with. So they've actually got 2 of the 8 games in our list today. It's a top-down adventure in a colouring book world where you can draw anything, and you play as, well, not Chicory. Something's terrible has happened to Chicory. She's a superstar artist, and she is the one that wields the brush. You are her #1 fan, and at the start of the game, you pick up her brush and start to use it. And it's a fascinating game, this. You get painting powers, you solve puzzles, help friends, and change the world. It's very much a sort of Zelda with a paintbrush in some way, but I think that would actually be, well, I think it's far more than that. Now, I played the demo, and I think Cody's played a bit of it before. This is one that's been on my radar for some time. I featured it in my Steam Festival February Top 10 list, and I think this is going to be coming out very soon. I think of all the 8 games we're looking at, this might be the one that releases... Well, actually, no, there's one that's coming out on the 20th of May, but I think this is going to be coming out very soon. I'm hoping it's got a spring 2021 release date, so I'm thinking the next 6 weeks. But who knows? We might get a shadow drop at some point in the next month.
This is, again, another one similar to Tunic, and it's interesting that they're both being published by Finji. I don't think this has anything to do with it, but games that I've been looking forward to, or have been on my radar and wish list for a long time.
Now,
I don't know when development first started on this one, but we're just going to paint away in here.
Are you using a controller for this, Cody?
You know, I actually switched back to keyboard and mouse because this is how I played the demo earlier, and I thought that controlling the paintbrush was a little more precise.
I think that it might well be. I've only played it on a controller, and if you use a controller, you use the left stick to control the character and the right stick to control the mouse, to control the cursor and the paintbrush, which it works pretty well, but I imagine that it'll be more precise using a mouse and keyboard.
Do we know if this is planned for consoles?
Yeah, well, it's been announced for PS4 and PS5.
Excellent.
Recently, and I'm assuming that you've got to think this is going to be on the Switch at some point in the future.
One would hope. So I actually do want to talk about the developers because I couldn't really find a name for them. Even on Steam, it just lists their individual names. But a couple of the games that they've worked on that you might recognize are... I want to say it's the game director is Greg Lobanov, who worked on Wandersong, which came out, I think, 2 years ago. And then the composer, the soundtrack composer, I know Idan in our community is a big fan of hers. It's Lena Rain, who worked on Celeste and Guild Wars. I'm sure many people here have played those games and will recognize her musical styles, her musical talent.
And a bit like Wandersong, this one is a very unique game. That has the singing mechanics, this has the paintbrush mechanics.
So I'm going to skip all these portraits so we can get to the meat of the game.
So there's over 100 characters to meet, lots of new paint abilities. So your new paint abilities allow you to unlock previously inaccessible areas. You can also play it co-op.
I did see that. How does that? Do you know how that works?
Someone gets an extra paintbrush, so that you can paint together.
Really? But it doesn't add an extra playable character. It just adds a paintbrush.
As far as I'm aware, it's just a second paintbrush.
We're taking it. I love like the light. I don't know. The art style and humor kind of reminds me of Undertale, to be honest, which is a game that I've really enjoyed. I think a lot of people have enjoyed it.
Having played this demo a couple of times, it's really polished. You can tell that it's nearly ready for release, this game.
Oh, it's locked. That's why we had to go outside. Okay. Yeah, I think you said this earlier, but I think we will be seeing this one fairly shortly. I hope.
I hope so too. I think so. I like how you can sort of fine tune your brush as well. Oh, I didn't. Oh, you got some litter.
Oh, you can change the color. So on the mouse, I'm just scrolling through the wheel. Let's put it on infinite scroll here. Alright, we'll stop that. Check on the townspeople too. Let's just go this way. CC asked, can you change the color? That's what made me think of that. So let's... I'm not a good artist. I'm not a creative person, so we're not going to try and paint anything interesting. Pickle. Is this a fox?
I don't agree with that.
Not in a strictly artistic sense. Not in like I can draw or I can paint. Wait. Is that my name? My name is Pineapple? It asked me what my favorite food was.
Oh, do you know what I chose as my... Well, why should I? You won't know. I went for muesli.
Really? That's kind of like granola, right? Similar? Yeah, I've had that. Did you steal it? Yeah, no, I didn't. Oh, we can paint her? Oh, let's paint her like a fox then. Pickle. Wait, can we paint Pickle green? That would make more sense. David said he's been listening to the Celeste soundtrack. Kevilo says, Undertale is great. I'm still playing it. I'm glad you're enjoying it. I'm glad that I could point someone in that direction after Edan pointed me in that direction. Okay, well, if I had known Pineapple would have been my name, I might have chosen Pizza. A dog named Pizza.
Cece says her name, she'd choose Chili. What would other people choose?
Chili. Yeah, what's your favorite food in here? I know Jeffrey would choose Twiglets.
Quite a good name, Twiglets.
Dave would choose Marmite, right? Have you ever played Undertale, Cody? Actually, I've never even heard of Undertale. Tell me what that's about.
And we've never heard of Cuphead either.
Wow, way to hit him where it hurts. Can you color my house back in? However you like. We'll paint the... Okay, so when you have to color specific things, well, it kind of helps you to color inside the lines and lets you purposely go outside the lines. Let's paint the roof green.
Now, when I was younger, I didn't really like... When I was drawing, I wanted to try and keep in the lines. What happens if you go outside the lines, Cody?
I think we've just approached that point. You can use right click to do that. I'll tell you when to stop erasing. Okay. So this just reminds me of Oh, and when you're erasing, it delays you crossing thicker lines. This just reminds me of like coloring in painting in like a child's watercolor book.
Yeah.
Which is really nice. I love doing that as a kid. Even like I can fill in the lines with color. I just can't create the lines and create things out of them. Okay, that's enough. It wasn't how I liked it before, but you can color it again if you want. Colored it differently. All right, let's do Peach on the roof. Dave said he would like to be called Yummies because he likes the sausage rolls. Welcome to the stream, Yummies. Thank you for being here.
Do you have sausage rolls in America?
Can you explain them to me? I'm not sure what he's referring to.
Well, a sausage roll is it's a sausage with like a sort of rolled in pastry and then baked in an oven.
Like, okay, we would call that pigs in a blanket.
Yeah, I suppose it is a pig in a blanket, yeah.
Maybe. Well, I guess a pig would be a hot dog.
Yeah. Pigs in blanket for us are the sort of thing you'd put in your roast dinner, particularly at Christmas. It's just small little sausages, like cocktail sausages, in bacon wrapped around them.
Ooh, that actually sounds really good. Okay.
I can imagine people could end up just painting one screen and spending a long time on it.
You really could. So let's paint some trees here. That's an aspect that I didn't even think of. You can just paint the landscape as you're walking through it. I'm just like on to the next thing. Oh, and just like you were talking about earlier, we've painted some trees away to get past them. This is a really creative and quite inventive game. And then you can erase. Wow, look at that. Erase the color to make a path. Let's pick up this gift, and then we'll probably wrap this one up. Moro said, beautiful people, I need to go to work tomorrow. It was fun being with you guys. Take care and stay safe. Thank you so much, Moro, for being here. Have a good night's rest, and be safe tomorrow at work.
Thanks, Maro. You got a beanie hat.
I did. Can I paint it? I can't paint it yet. Let's wear it. Why not? Ooh, look at that. And we can paint it once it's on us. That is very nice. So I guess there will be some collectibles to find, which makes sense. That's a nice thing to put in there. Found some more litter. So what do you guys think about Chicory? We will kind of wrap things up here. But I think it's a lovely little game. We haven't heard too much of the soundtrack, just occasionally in the background. Other times it's just, I think right now it's just quiet, maybe with a few birds chirping. But I quite like the design of everything. Again, this reminds me of like a watercolor paint book that you would paint in as a child, maybe even as an adult. I don't know. I just don't do it anymore. That doesn't mean that other people don't do it. Oh, here's another feature. So we'll go ahead and paint all this stuff real quick. Just doing a slop job of it. Let's paint that tree teal. So on each scene, you can hit view time lapse, and it shows you everything that you've painted in like a quick 2-second clip. I think that's a nice little feature. I don't know that I would use it all that often, but maybe if I took some time with something, I would probably use that a lot. If I made something look really nice.
People recording and posting on Twitter or other social media.
Absolutely. Cece says, I find it cute but no story, so not too interesting to me. Hold your horses, Cece. I think there is a good story to be found here. Did you say you've played the demo? I think for what we've seen in my playthrough, we haven't gotten enough of the story, but I think it will be maybe more of an exploration narrative than just a straightforward like talking back and forth story. But I think there's a lot of nice things to discover in that game. But again, that's my opinion.
as I said before, there's over 100 characters to talk to, and you only saw a couple of them there. So I think that this is a great narrative game with a story. So let's hold our horses.
Do you say that in the UK? Hold your horses.
We do say that phrase. Yes.
Okay, something. Finally, a phrase we share in common. Let's see what's next. The Longest Road on Earth. So I'm going to be honest, I had not heard of this game until LudoNarraCon. But it's coming out next month, in less than 30 days. It's coming out on May 20th. I'm trying to talk about it while I'm trying to open it. So, Leon, please tell us about The Longest Road on Earth.
Yeah, I hadn't heard. Well, I think I'd seen it, but I hadn't really known much about it. And it is coming out. It's the game that's coming out the soonest, really, out of all the games that we're looking at here. And it's a beautiful pixel art, sort of black and white game that tells the story through songs. There's no text in the game, and there are over 20 different songs that play. And I played through the demo last night, and it just washed over me. I was taken aback. I just thought it's wonderful. It's haunting. There's just something about it for me that is a little bit different. And what you get here are 4 short stories that really require interpretation. It's all about how you interpret it. But I just really, really like it.
Yeah, and it's very not, like you said, it's nondescript. It's not telling you exactly what's going on. You just kind of put your own meaning into it, put your own story behind it. So I think we're about to hear the beginning of the soundtrack, but that is one of the main focuses of the game, is telling a story through music. Let's see if we get it here. And now we're onto a different character after 1 minute.
You switch back and forth between the characters quite quickly.
Heartbeat always with me. One day no longer here. I'm still wearing the dress that he.
And this is coming from a team of only 4. Again, another team that doesn't really have kind of a collective name. It is being published by Raw Fury, which has been, to me, they've been on a real streak lately of delivering great games. Recently, Star Renegades last fall came out. Also, Townscaper was published by them, so a very well-known indie publisher, in my opinion. Is it meant to be a black screen? No, it's not.
I thought it was just me.
Nope, it's me. Thank you, guys. I hate that you've missed the beginning part of it.
I can see you.
So we've gone from a game that, in Chicory, that encourages you to color everything in, and is filled with vibrant colors, to this. Very monochromatic scenery. Everything is monochromatic.
Cece, you spot on the music. I was swept away by it.
I was too. I was really shocked. Like there's no sound at the very beginning of it, and then when you get to that one scene that unfortunately everybody missed because I left it on a black screen, everything changes. So I would encourage each of you to check out the demo for this game. Link in the description.
The demo's about 15 minutes long. The full game that's out on the 20th is going to be about 2 hours. But I think it's worth every minute. You know, there's just something special about it. The sort of cutscenes as well add to there's something. It feels quite nostalgic.
Cece said she's downloading the demo right now. So something that you and I talked about back at the very beginning of this stream is shorter games. How do you feel about them?
Well, I don't know what other people think, but I do like a short game. There's so many games that come out. The shorter they are, then it's about experiences for me.
Right.
And it doesn't matter how long they are if they're memorable.
I think some of the most memorable games that I've played fall right in the 2-hour mark, the 2 to 3 hours. For me, that's being able to sit down and take it all in one sitting, ideally, and just being able to absorb everything that the game throws at you without being distracted by something else. And it just, for me, that leads to some of the most memorable experiences in gaming. And that's not to say there isn't something for, Hollow Knight or games that take 80 or 100 hours. I love those games probably just as much. But
I agree. If he's saying that shorter games mean I can get round to beating them. Yeah, I've got so many games in my Steam library that I've just not touched. And it's great to actually complete a game.
I really like this part of the soundtrack too. I don't know any of the names for the soundtrack, obviously, but this is a nice little, the humming in the background and the vocals. David says the pixel art is really good. I would trust you on that, David, because I know you enjoy doing pixel art or making pixel art. But I do really like, and it's kind of different pixel art styles. Like we just saw a cutscene there that was maybe a little more descriptive or a little more focused. This feels very blocky to me.
And I think it's the sort of thing, because it's down to interpretation, you'll play it again. And you might discover something, with repeat plays. So it's the longest road on earth allows you to wrap yourself like a cosy blanket in the beauty of small joys like blowing dandelion seeds, collecting seashells, sledding on the first day of winter, and riding a bike on a summer day.
Oh my days. This game sounds lovely. CC says, I feel that a lot of love and care is put in shorter games, like precious and delicately crafted experiences. I agree. I think it's a different sort of challenge to tell an intriguing and an engaging story in that amount of time, and especially in a game like this that I don't think has any text, right? Any dialogue?
No dialogue. Even the tutorial, and it just comes up with the button to press, doesn't it?
Right. Which I'm playing this one on keyboard as well. No mouse, just keyboard, and I'm using WASD to move and spacebar for all my actions. This is a super simple game to get into. Yeah, a great game if you know somebody that doesn't handle a controller well. Like a first-person kind of control scheme. This is a great game to kind of introduce them to a different side of gaming.
And it's also a great game for people of any language.
Exactly. If there's nothing to read, everyone can understand it. And here we are, again, with a wide array of anthropomorphic animals.
Yep.
Like you were talking about earlier. We're just going to take a stroll through the city. This is not a negative of the game by any means, but this is honestly a game that I could fall asleep playing. The music is so relaxing, and I recently played Evan's Remains, which I really enjoyed, but I fell asleep probably 4 or 5 times playing it just because the music was so relaxing.
Soporific is the word.
Soporific. That is a word that I don't use.
Means sleep-inducing.
Oof. I should use that then. I fall asleep a lot. I did not fall asleep last night because I was so I was so excited about this stream today, and the response that Leon and I were getting from developers reaching out to us, and as you've seen, a lot of them were able to join us and are just super friendly and super nice. So I'm really thankful for this opportunity with Leon to be able to share these games and spread the word on some awesome games coming out. But seriously, I probably slept 2.5 hours last night. Now this is really nice.
It's lovely how the sort of camera pans out.
Mm-hmm. Oh, where did I go? I looked away for a minute. Oh, I'm going up the stairs. Cece asking, I'm wondering if the characters will meet at some point. That would be my first inclination, would be that like these are 4 kind of interconnected stories. But it will be interesting to see. And we will see soon. May 20th is coming up very quickly.
I think this will definitely feature on our channels in the future. Well, I think all these games will, but this one sooner rather than later.
So we're only featuring 8 on this stream today, but there are over 40. There's at least 40 games being featured at LudoNarraCon. I want to say all of them with demos available. Some games that are already out and available as well. So if you haven't looked at them on Steam, if you're playing on PC, check out LudoNarraCon on Steam. There's so much good content being made over there, and so many good games to check out.
And with this being the 3rd year, it's probably got more. I think it's got more demos than ever before. But just to name drop some of the games that have been featured over the last couple of years that you probably know. These are all indie classics: Neocab, Stillness of the Wind, Monster Prom, Night Call, Do Not Feed the Monkeys, Coffee Talk, Heaven's Vault, Lost Words, Mutazione, Welcome to Elk, Rocky, one of my favourite games of last year. In Other Waters, Genesis Noir. There's so many games.
That's a great list.
It is a great list. There's more. The Flower Collector. Have you played The Flower Collector?
I haven't played that one.
That's a wonderful game with anthropomorphic creatures, animals, and it's a bit like Rear Window, if you know the Hitchcock.
Okay. Yeah.
Where there's an incident that happens and this person in a wheelchair sees it out the window. It's fascinating detective story.
So this is a character that we haven't seen yet. Maybe a factory worker? Or an inmate in prison?
Yeah, I think it's an inmate.
Okay.
But I really love what's about to happen where it does a sort of split screen effect.
So I know we're going a little over on our time with this one, but But Leon, you did say this was about a 15-minute demo, so that will be perfect. Dave says 20th of May is mine and Sophie's wedding anniversary. Well, maybe, congratulations, first of all. Maybe to celebrate, you guys can play through this game together. A nice, relaxing night at home.
With the longest road on Earth.
CC says symbolism, inmate equals office worker or factory worker. I do like this split screen effect. Like you mentioned, it's a nice change up. Just when you're getting used to the way the game plays, it's like, oh, here's something new. Oh, I thought they were about to call each other on the phone. Oh. Or are they?
I think they are.
Cece says she's adding this one to her wish list. She's really going to enjoy this game. I'm very happy to hear that. I will definitely be playing this. Hopefully day one. Well, hopefully before then, if I'm being honest. I would love to review this. I like this guy's sense of style. The old clockmaker.
Now, I think this is the last bit of the demo.
Okay. That's perfect.
As we said, beautiful pixel art, but I particularly like it when he walks past the mirror and you see the reflection.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I guess we're going back out. Is the crocodile with the clocks a reference to Peter Pan? I wish someone was here to answer that. Nice little snow globe. Is that the end?
Oh no, it's not the end.
What?
We might not be able to see the end.
We might have to cut it off. This is incredible.
You do some sliding in the snow. I think it's snow.
Let's wrap it up here because I really like this song, and the scenery is quite a contrast to what it has been. Kind of dark and gloomy monochrome. This is much more wide open, and I like the scenery. So what do you guys think? What do you think of The Longest Road? Cece's already said that she'll be playing this one. The demo, at least.
Published by Raw Fury, always put out good games.
Absolutely. Kind of similar to Backbone, honestly, with the pixel art style. Another one coming from Raw Fury, hopefully this year.
And another one that's featured in the LudoNarraCon.
Was Backbone in there? I must have skipped over that.
Not this year. I don't think it's
not this year. Okay. I will say this demo is hard to get out of. I couldn't find a way out other than opening Task Manager.
Yes, I think I did the same.
Which is fine. No, I can't recommend this game. There's no way to quit it. You will be addicted.
So CC loves it. Dave, not so much.
Yeah, Dave doesn't love the Wendy House games, as I've come to call them.
What are the Wendy House games?
I don't actually call them that. Dave and Sophie call them that. I'm not sure. I've read an explanation in one of their chats about what Wendy House is. I assumed that was something in UK culture.
I know what a Wendy House is, but I don't know what you mean by Wendy House games. A Wendy House is a sort of like a child's sort of little house that you put up, like a little sort of model house that they play inside your house. It's quite an old thing, a Wendy House.
So maybe this isn't a Wendy House game, because usually he refers to... Yeah, he said that wasn't a Wendy House game. I think Wendy House game refers to something where you're kind of establishing a dwelling, like Cozy Grove or Stardew Valley.
That makes sense. A Wendy House is basically a mini house where people, like children, play house.
Okay. Yep, he just said exactly that. Games like Animal Crossing or Stardew Valley. Now, so I've played a little bit of this next game, A Space for the Unbound, coming from Mojiken, who I will fawn about in just a second. But I don't know that I can go back to... Can I go back to the beginning? Is this the beginning? I actually thought it was going to pop me in somewhere in the middle. It will not. So Leon, why don't you introduce us to A Space for the Unbound, coming later this year.
And we've got a black screen at the moment, just to mention.
Thank you so much. I'm dropping the ball late in the stream here.
It's okay.
How about now? We're good? Okay, we should be good here.
Yes, we're good. I think this is the introduction that you're playing.
It is.
So, Space of the Unbound. This is the prologue. It's a beautiful pixel art game set in 90s rural Indonesia. Interesting place and setting. And it's about anxiety, depression, and the relationship between a boy and a girl with supernatural powers. I think the art style of this is fabulous. You've got two high school sweethearts, Atma and Rhea, on a journey of self-discovery at the end of their high school years. When a mysteriously supernatural power is suddenly unleashed threatening their existence, they must explore and investigate their town to uncover hidden secrets, face the end of the world, and perhaps learn more about each other. Ooh. Space for the Unbound presents an endearing story-driven experience with a vibrant environment waiting to be explored. Doesn't that sound good?
I think I need to turn down the volume just a little bit on the game. Yep, CC just said I'm having a hard time hearing you. Okay, so this should be better. I'm gonna turn it down to about half volume.
Did they not hear my introduction then?
I don't know if they did. That'd be a shame. Why don't you repeat it quickly?
I'll repeat it all, but in a nutshell, we've got a story-driven experience set in Indonesia in 1990s about two high school sweethearts, Atma and Rhea.
And we see them here.
Here they are.
Now, if I were looking at this game without hearing that introduction, I would not have thought these were high school sweethearts. I would have thought maybe like 10 to 12 years old.
Yep. In fact, I played through it and I thought I didn't realise that the person on the left was female. I thought they were like two friends.
Wait, the person on the left?
Person on the right, sorry. Person on the right.
Is that left in the UK? Are you guys different than we are?
Way.
Okay. That makes sense. Dave says Brock. I'm sure referring to the character on the left. Or on the right. I don't know. I'm not really familiar with Pokemon.
No, but I got a Pokemon feel. I know exactly what Dave's saying. Yes, he does look a bit like Brock. Pokemon.
Okay. So I want to talk for a second. If you guys, I know a lot of you in the chat have been around the channel for a while. Mojiken is one of my favorite developers. They're fantastic at telling really lovely narrative stories. My favorite game of theirs is When the Past Was Around. It's a story told without words, but with fantastic music, kind of like the last game we were just looking at, The Longest Road on Earth. But they are lovely folks over there. You can find them on Twitter at Mojiken, and their community managers are also super nice. They did say, because of the time difference, it's now, what time is it here? 5:44? It's now 4:44 in the morning there. They won't be joining us today, but they would love to chat with us in the future about this game. So stay tuned. And Emerald Walrus, welcome to the stream. You'll also recognize the publisher Toge Productions. I know Emerald Walrus. Whew, we have been going for a while, haven't we? They've published again, a lot of Mojiken's games, but Coffee Talk in particular. I know that you've talked about that in the past.
Coffee Talk was another game that I mentioned before that was in last year's LudoNarraCon.
Yeah, that came out late last year, I think. I remember playing the demo for it.
And that one's out on Switch as well. And other consoles, but I know a lot of people like Switchy.
Okay, so I'm gonna speed through this chatting section here because again, we're like almost out of time. But basically, go ahead.
I was I think what we might not get to that people perhaps could do with knowing about it is that there's an interesting mechanic when you get into the game. You soon find a magic book, a red magic book, that gives you the options to dive into people's minds, which adds an interesting sort of aspect to the story. You'll find the red book just on the right, but the game does open up quite quickly, and you're able to interact with many of the different characters. And, well, I don't want to say too much, but you have to go and retrieve a magic wand in the early stages of the game. But the person in the yellow t-shirt, I think she's writing a book and she's looking to complete the book with her final chapter, and she's looking for inspiration. And that's pretty much the premise of the game here.
So a very magical, maybe mystical
Yes.
theme to it, kind of similar to something from like a Studio Ghibli movie.
It actually reminds me a lot of that. Pokemon crossed with Studio Ghibli.
What a great mashup. What a great mashup to be compared to.
Yeah.
I am really looking forward to this one.
So I think you have to show the guys the diving mechanic into the mines.
Okay. Do you know where to go? I did not get this far.
Just do it now. I think you're going to do it now.
Okay. Dancing flower, huh? That's the power of the magic red book. Emerald Walrus, I'm really glad you're here. You said sorry, haven't been around in the latest streams, but you're here now. How we all doing? Got some good games. Check down in the description. There's a full list of all the games that we've played today. And you can go check them out. You're welcome to watch the stream back, obviously, later. But all the games are down there. Wonderful devs. Several of them stopped by and chatted with us. And be sure to go check them out on Steam and wishlist them if you like the look of them.
David comments on the text box being beautiful. I agree. It reminds me a lot of the sort of Super Nintendo era pixel graphics.
Really nice. Yeah, really nice touches with the graphics. Some interesting movement, can I back out here, with the characters too, like the way they move almost reminds me of a beat 'em up. I'm not sure, and kind of like the bouncing when they're standing still. This game also deals with mental health. Something that can be difficult to touch on, for sure. So I'm interested to see how they handle it, what they kind of discuss about it, what they show about it. But I'm always open to learning more about that, to finding out more, and hopefully this will be a way to kind of educate people as well, while entertaining them. I wonder what door it opens. Dave says he's got to go to bed. Dave, thanks so much for stopping by. I'm really glad you stopped in when we were still playing Lake. That was excellent timing. Go get some sleep. We'll see you soon.
Yeah.
So this is an excerpt that we're reading here from the book that the girl was reading at the very beginning of the game.
I think she's the one that's writing the book.
Yes. So maybe this is how she unlocks the rest of the story, and how we kind of unlock the rest of her story of obviously being bullied. It's through these dives into the mind, which is a neat mechanic. Okay, so we are going to wrap A Space for the Unbound up right here. I'm sorry that we can't show more. I think there's probably a lot more to find in the demo. So do yourself a favor. If this looks interesting to you, go download the demo. It's available through tomorrow through LudoNarraCon, and explore it for yourself. This is, again, another game that probably Leon and I will both be looking forward to featuring on our channels in the future. But I'm glad that we've had the time now to kind of show it off, and it's just fantastic to look at. A really nice soundtrack too.
We've had quite a few pixel art games today, but very different styles as well. So much variety in LudoNarraCon and the indies.
Yes, Cece makes a good point. She says she's really interested to see how they're going to address their relationship. Are they going to go beyond the trope of the savior? I hope so. Has anyone else in here played When the Past Was Around? I'm curious. I'm always asking that question because I just want to talk to somebody else who's played that game and can.
I haven't played it, Cody.
Relate to me.
I feel very bad. I am going to play it though.
You should. It's a lovely story. Again, it took me right around 2 hours. It's a point and click adventure. Not to get off topic of LudoNarraCon. I'll stop talking about it. So Leon, why don't you introduce us to our last game on the list, Beacon Pines.
So Beacon Pines. Oh, I think we're ending with a cracker here. This is, surprise, surprise, another game with talking animals. And it reminds me a little bit of A Night in the Woods. I mentioned that earlier, that there was a game that reminded me a bit of Night in the Woods, the Finji indie. And this one is also, it's been described as Winnie the Pooh meets Stranger Things. Thanks. It's a sort of choose your own adventure style game with a magical storybook. You play as the reader and the main character, Luca, who I think might be a goat. I'm not sure. I think so. Now, I played through the demo and I really, really enjoyed it. What I particularly like here is that as you progress, you discover things called charms, and the charms allow you to change the future. And what you can do is you can go back at certain points to the tree branch and change what you actually what charm you used, and that will change the future. So it's really, really interesting. We've still got a black screen, Cody.
Oh my days! I am so sorry. So you've missed all the intro where it showed the book. I'm being a terrible host. I apologize.
They were all just listening to me, and
you were just enjoying Leon's explanation. You don't need to see this. So this is the book that Leon was referring to. And also, we have Tim Garris joining us. He is, I had it written down, he's the PR and community manager for Hiding Spot Games, the developer of the game. Tim, welcome. I'm sure this has been a busy weekend for you with everything going on at LudoNarraCon, but I'm super excited to have you here. if anyone in the chat has any questions for Tim, again, the community and PR manager for Hiding Spot, shoot away. I'm sure we'll have some questions along the way as well.
Now, I like the way that the story opens here. There isn't actually any recorded voices yet. I'm not sure that will be added, but it's got a lovely, again, sort of paint book art style, hasn't it?
It does. This may just be me personally, but I think I would prefer not to have voiceover in this game, just based on how the soundtrack is playing in the background. It's just very relaxing to sit and read this. And being set kind of in a book setting, I kind of envision it as not having voiceover. But maybe Tim could shed some light on that.
What's interesting is that you've got you get the book that sort of interjects at certain points and to sort of tell the story, and then so you hear from the sort of narrator of sorts, and also the main character Luca.
Okay, so Tim just said there will be voice acting for the narrator, but there's also definitely an option plan to turn it off. So you could play it either way. If you prefer to just listen to the soundtrack in the background, you can do that too.
I was actually going to say that if they were to add voice acting, it would just be for the narrator, because I think that will actually add quite a lot to the game. But as it is, I think it's wonderful, this demo.
And we're being introduced to Luca's not so subtle, maybe a little dense friend Rollo, which is an adorable name for an adorable creature. I don't know, what animal is that? A fox, maybe?
Well, yeah, maybe.
It is. It's hard to tell. So, what can I ask you, Leon? What kind of artistic style vibes are you getting from this game so far? Does it remind you of any games in particular?
Well, I'm not sure about it. Well, it reminded me a little bit of, say, Cozy Grove, but I think the actual the way the story's told and the characters reminded me a little bit of Night in the Woods, as I mentioned earlier.
Yes.
And it deals with quite serious topics such as death and grief. Because Luca, the protagonist, she's lost her father and her mother's gone missing. So that's what they're talking about at the moment. And Luca wants to, she won't give up on finding her mother, and that's what the story's really about.
Yeah, this does not ease you into the difficult subject of a seemingly young character without, a father who's passed. Well, I guess he's 12, but their father has passed when they were 6. Their mother's missing. And we're only 5 minutes in.
Now, when you go into the next screen, you'll potentially pick up your first chime, which is one of the key mechanics of the game.
Now, I asked you about the artistic style. To me, this kind of reminds me too of Cozy Grove, like you said, but also Lost Words Beyond the Page, with kind of that. I don't think this is as watercolor colored, but kind of a very similar style. And again, with the book mechanic, it reminds me a lot of that. But obviously, very different games.
Now, you've missed something in the previous screen, I think.
Did I?
Yes.
Uh-oh, I wasn't paying attention.
And this is the thing: if you miss some of the chimes, then you won't be able to use them. And when you say Lost Words, it does remind me a bit of Lost Words, because you have to put in the chimes are words that you can use, which will allow you to change the future, the path that you take.
Very interesting. Tim, since I have you here, I would like to know a bit more about Hiding Spot. It's not a development team that I'm familiar with. How big is your team? This is a good friend here. I like this guy. Okay, so you said I missed a charm back here.
Yeah, if you go back into the dandelion patch. To the left.
Tickle. Oh, look at that. Now, in the trailer, I will say there's one that pops up that almost made me laugh out loud because there's no context with it. It's turd. And I had a good laugh about that because I'm a child.
Yes, you do. It's not actually turd, it's another word for turd.
Is it?
Yes.
I can't think of what it is. Wait, do you find it in this demo?
Yes, it is in the demo. A bit later on, though. I don't think we'll get to it.
Okay, we might not. Well, that is a bummer. Go watch the trailer after this if you haven't seen it. It's quite funny. And this is quite a charming game.
The animations of the characters are beautiful, the way that they move.
Just a quick chat with the soon-to-be bacon. Very formal name for the larger one. Okay, so Cece informed me in the chat what the word is. I don't think it is that in the trailer. I'm almost positive it's not.
Oh, it is that in the game.
Well, maybe they wanted to make the trailer more family friendly. I love these little, just these kind of cutout scenes. It doesn't feel overwhelming to explore like a large location. It's like bite-sized pieces of the landscape that you're going through one at a time. Can I go in here? I can. So Tim said that Hiding Spot Games is a very small team, just 3 people developing it. Are you included in the 3 people? Or do you strictly do PR and community management? So now we have the book chatting with us about how to use this charm. I don't want to skip this. I just saw somebody mention it. David says, this is actually kind of close to me. My dad passed on around that time. Depression and stuff followed, but playing games like Celeste and like becoming closer to religion helped me a lot. David, I really appreciate you sharing that, man. I don't feel like that's easy at all to talk about with friends or kind of in a public setting like this, so I really appreciate you sharing that, and I hope if there's people out there who are struggling with that kind of stuff today, with depression, just know that there's hope. And thank you guys in the chat for being so kind. It's really nice to have such a kind and welcoming community. So Tim said, back to the studio, Matt handles the bulk of the design and composes the music. Brent is our writer, and then our artist, Ilsa? That's how I'm going to pronounce it. Who does all of this wonderful art from the environments to the character portraits and sprites. So again, we were talking about this earlier, a small team wearing a lot of different hats.
It's really impressive. It looks like a cartoon.
It does. And we can just sit here by the fire. Oh, and we got a charm for relaxing.
I'll tell you what it reminds me of, it's just come to me now. Sylvanian families in the UK, or you call them calico critters.
I'm not familiar with that. Calico critters.
Oh. Calico critters. They're like a children's toy brand.
Okay. I like this. So is this our house, or are we wandering around a stranger's house?
No, this is our house.
This is our house. Okay. Excellent.
And Gran's in the garden.
Let's head straight there. Tim says he's mostly community/marketing and occasionally some playtesting. The playtesting sounds quite fun.
It does, doesn't it? This is where it introduces the charm mechanic, which I think is the most unique part of the game.
We are getting to the end of our time. We'll probably wrap this up in about 5 more minutes and then just kind of chat for 10 minutes about what games stood out the most to you guys. But if you guys have any questions for Tim from Hiding Spot, the developers behind this beautiful game, please ask away. We're really fortunate to have him here, that he would take time away from all the busy goings on at LudoNarraCon to spend time chatting about Beacon Pines. All right, so let's use our charms. This is a big thing for me as well. When you're talking and the character sprites are just shown on, or maybe not sprites, their illustrations are shown on the screen, it's a big deal to me when their facial animations change while they're talking. Sometimes it's just kind of static, but I feel like you can, 90% of communication is nonverbal, and being able to see that portrayed on their faces, like so close up, is really, really special.
I'd like to know from Tim how far along the game is in development. At the moment we're just playing the demo, but how much of the game is completing? Can we expect it in 2021?
Great question. And great question from Emerald Walrus, too. What pronouns does Luca use? Pronouns are he, him. Okay, so do I need to go change before I can use the charms? It appears.
I don't know. Maybe you do. I'd also like. Is Luca a goat?
Another great question. Is Luca a goat? What are they called when they walk on 2 feet? Like a fawn? I'm thinking of like the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Oh, right, yeah.
Mr. Tumnus. Oh. Also, Tim, this may not be in the works yet, or you may not have an answer. Will there be merchandise available for this game? Like when I was playing the early stages of the game and being close up and he had that nice shirt of the pine trees, I thought, oh, that would be a nice kind of a touch of a thing to buy from the game.
Well, you know what I want? I want a Luca plush.
Of course you do. Leon, did you posted a picture of your plush shelf in the Discord, right?
Yes.
It was excellent.
It's there for all to see. Got Enter the Gungeon plushies. I've got Gomez from Fez. I've got them all. I've got Isaac from the Binding of Isaac. If
you aren't in the Discord, it's just a lovely little place where a lot of our closest community members hang out and chat about indie games. You get stream notifications. You can find that link in the description as well. Okay, let's get through this, and then I want to get to what Tim said about the timeline. We were just going to go, what, for the day? We were just gonna go chill. And I love these little animations too. Look at how cute that is. Him laying on the lawn chair. That's adorable. We're gonna go chill for the day.
What you choose now determines the path you take.
So this will definitely be one that you can play through again.
Well, you can at any point later on go. There's this tree, and you can go back and change the word and see the other path.
Really?
Yes.
That's quite interesting.
To see how things play out.
Make sure you're done chilling. Your first turning point. Okay, so that's what that kind of event is called. Simple word can change the course of history. So we don't have time to introduce you guys to the Chronicle, whatever this next mechanic is. I haven't gotten to this point yet, but we do need to wrap up the stream. Tim, thank you so much for being here with us. I'm going to read what you wrote. It's hard to estimate exact production progress, but most of the design and systems are done. So now the team is focused on making content and scripting scenes. We don't have an exact release date yet, but we're estimating late 2021 or early 2022. So something to keep your eye out for. I'm sure that Leon and I will be covering it as it comes closer. And again, thank you. We're not wrapping up quite yet, but thank you so much to Leon for being here from I Love Indies on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. His links are down in the description. He's been an excellent co-host. I literally could not have done this without him. So please go follow him wherever you prefer, but especially on YouTube. He puts out great weekly indie game countdowns, and yeah, he's a good friend.
Thanks, Cody. We should all be thanking you as well, because you came up with the idea. It's been a really, really enjoyable way to look at these new demos, new games, these new indies, and talk about it with some of the developers, publishers, and other people. It's been great.
Yeah, it's been a blast. And Tim said we are producing some merch for the Kickstarter rewards. No plans yet for fun things like shirts or plushes, but that would definitely be great. So maybe we'll see something about that in the future. And he says thanks so much for checking out the demo. Tim, thanks again for taking time out of your super busy weekend to be here with us. Where can people in the chat, where can viewers find you guys on Twitter or anywhere else? Where can we follow along with the progress of the game? And CC recommends trying out the demo for yourself. There's definitely some really interesting stuff happening later on.
Yes, I would agree. I've played through the whole demo, and the charm mechanic really does come into play, where something happens and you have to go back and change the charm you used to change the future and the path that you take.
Wow. Well, I may be picking this one back up right after we finish the stream, because I'm really intrigued.
Because there's one scenario where you get to this strange, there's a guy in a hazmat suit. I don't want to say too much, but there's some strange goings on. You go on your own, something bad happens. You have to go back and make sure you take your friend with you. But I'll say no more.
Well, yeah, you've piqued my interest for sure. Well, awesome, guys. It's been a blast for me to be able to play these games and share some information about them with you. Again, one last time, all the links are in the description below for Steam. All the demos are available through tomorrow. So if you saw some that you liked, maybe you saw 1 or 2, or maybe you saw 8 that you liked, go check out the demos. They're a lot of fun to play through. Really nice to kind of experience a lot of different short stories and get excited about games coming soon. So I'm going to switch to just me so that I'm not distracted anymore. What games really stuck out to you guys. Which games are you looking forward to either playing the demo or looking forward to seeing more of in the future?
What's your favourite, Cordy?
Let me look at this list. That's really hard to say. Tunic is great because it appeals to that kind of, it's a little more action-y and a little more adventure-y. I think I'm going to pick two. I think the first one is The Longest Road on Earth. I think it's brilliant. I think it's very unique. And I love to find games that are doing things differently. And I love games with a good soundtrack, so that checks that box for sure. And also A Space for the Unbound. Kind of the same thing, but I love like a good magical story. And like I said, that reminds me of like a Studio Ghibli kind of vibe. And the art is just beautiful. You know, it's not vibrant colors like something like Chicory was. But I think that the story and the way they're building it could be really, really sweet and really endearing and touch on some topics that are difficult to address. What about you, Leon?
Well, I'm like you, going to go. Well, I find it very difficult because they're all really good, but I'm going to go with the. I'll go for two. The Longest Road on Earth, which, as I said when you were playing through it, when I played the demo last night, it sort of swept me away with the music. And the just simplicity of the pixel art, I really, really like it. And I can't wait for May the 20th to come round for that one. Tunic is an obvious one to go for. I'm not going to go for Tunic, though. I'm going to go for Beacon Pines, just because I've played through the demo. I've seen how the demo ends. There's a really cool little bit at the end of the demo as well, where they've added some extra text in the book to draw attention to the fact that it is a demo. And I really like that. And I like the sort of branching narrative, the pathways, the way that you can go back and change the past. And so I'm going for Beacon Pines as my other one.
I love it. Beacon Pines is, I mean, all of these, they're so hard to choose from. We chose them for this stream because we thought they all looked great. There isn't a game on this list that isn't, I think, that isn't going to be fantastic.
Well, just look at, they're in such a good company. Just look at the games that I've mentioned before from previous LudoNarraCons. You know, they've all become classics. And I think all of these games are going to be future indie classics.
Absolutely. So let's see what the chat said. Cece said she discovered one or two that she wouldn't have picked up otherwise, but I don't know that she named... Okay, she said Beacon Pines is still her favorite. The Longest Road on Earth is number 2. And number 3 is A Space for the Unbound. Cece, I think we have very similar tastes in games. Emerald Walrus says they're a big fan of Finji, so they're a bit biased. And they are looking forward to, I guess, probably Chicory and Tunic. You asked what was my name in Chicory? It was Pineapple. I went with pizza originally, and then changed it to pineapple because I love pineapple on pizza.
And mine was muesli.
And yours was muesli. What was yours, Emerald? I'm curious. Tim, did I... if you want to drop links to where people can find you, or maybe just post a Twitter username where we can follow along with the progress of Beacon Pines, I'd love to direct people over there. Tim said, yes, all of LudoNarraCon, which to me is a tongue twister, and I've been reading it all day. Anyway, it's so fantastic this year. We're honored to be showcasing with them. You're in great company, and I wholeheartedly believe you guys deserve to be there. It's a lovely game. David says he can't really choose which one's his favorite. They all look fantastic. Tim, is it not letting you post links? Sometimes YouTube is finicky about that. If you want to... I'm trying to think of what the best way to do that would be. If you want to email me the links, I know that we've been communicating through email. If you want to email me the links that you'd prefer people to follow you at, I will post it in our Discord. Because I think most of the people that are in this stream are pretty active in our Discord. Yeah, YouTube is strange sometimes about posting links. I'm sorry about that. Cece also said No Longer Home seemed interesting too. I still need to play the demo. I did see that, and I don't think I've played the demo for it. I know that I've seen the trailer for it, but another great narrative tale.
So many of them. I'm just looking at the list of the LudoNarraCon this year.
Unpacking was another one, right? Or Unpacked? I have played the demo for that, and that is filled with nostalgia.
And we shouldn't forget the games that are the part of the convention that have already been released, like Cozy Grove, In Other Waters, Haven, Forgotten Fields, Spiritfarer. These are classics. And some of them have only just come out.
Yeah, and some of them have been out for a while, like Spiritfarer, and are still getting tons of updates. I think they just got another update, last week? The Lily update?
Nuts. Have you played Nuts, Cody? That's part of the convention.
I haven't.
That is really interesting. A really short narrative experience, but it's one where you put these cameras down and watch the squirrels. You put the cameras down during the day, and then you record it overnight, and then you watch the videos to see where the squirrels go. It's a bit of a mystery, a bit Firewatch-esque, but it's really interesting, and the art style is very unique. Definitely one to try out. That's Nuts.
My dog has just decided to grace our presence, so I will introduce Amelia, my lovely... Oh, hello. My lovely Poodle Bichon mix, my little 6-pound pooch.
She's very small.
She is very small. She's like 7 pounds. She's really my wife's choice of a dog. I would prefer something a little more masculine, but she is a sweetheart. Cece also said she'll play The Dark Side Detective on her channel. She thinks it seems really fun. That's one that I highlighted in a monthly countdown, probably last month. And I thought the humor just looked fantastic. I thought the gameplay looked really fun too, like a detective. Not necessarily noir, but like kind of a goofy haunted movie kind of feel.
I played the first one. I haven't got around to the sequel yet.
Okay.
Really enjoyed it. And Inspector Waffles is very similar. So CC, if you've not played Inspector Waffles, give that one a try. It's quite similar to Dark Side Detective.
Yeah. Well, we're going to wrap it up, guys. We ran a little bit over on time, which was probably to be expected with how many games we played. Thank you for your patience with the black screens when you didn't get to see all of the games. Thank you so much, everyone, for hanging out, especially to the devs and community managers that were able to join us. Tim, again, if you're still here, thanks so much for your time. And also the folks from Smarto Club, Gamius, and who else did we have? Francesco from Venice 2089. We had a lot of folks stop by, and it was really nice to chat with them. If you're not in the Discord, please join us over there. The link is in the description. I'll be posting links where you can find out more about Beacon Pines, where you can follow along there. And we just have a nice little group and discussions over there. Leon, do you want to tell where people can find you? I know I've got links in the description.
Yeah, well, the links are in the description. I Love Indies. And you can find me on YouTube. I am on Twitter. Indies Love is my Twitter handle. And I've also got a Steam curator, which you can join. It's called I Love Indies. So lots of places to discover new indie games.
Excellent. And as we can see, there's a ton of new indie games coming out, so I don't think you can ever follow too many indie game content creators or too many indie game developers. There's always something new to be found. All right, guys. Well, thank you again so much. It's been an absolute blast. Yeah, join us in Discord, and we'll see you in the next stream or the next video. Have a good night.